myself, but I'll be here.
Good morning. This is the second session, well, actually the first session in July. Well, sorry, second session. Down Under did do a session last night for the DBA Fundamental Virtual Chapter. Today we will have Pinal Dave doing SQL Server Performance Tuning made easy. That's a perfect session for our group of people, and something I'm really looking forward to. I'll be turning things over to Pinal in just a few minutes, but I'll take care of a little housekeeping. Again, I'm Steve Cantrell, chapter leader of DBA Fundamentals Virtual Chapter, and Shane O'Neill is helping today. And we're sponsored by SentryOne. Great company. They give away, and we like to present the freebies section. Of course, they sell things, but they don't ask us to even talk about that, but we will sometimes. But here's a list of things if you want to kind of look at free stuff you can get at any time, and I would definitely suggest downloading a full version of the Plan Explorer. You can ask questions. You can see other videos and go to their blogs. Their blogs are fantastic. 24 Hours of PASS Summit Preview is coming up, and you can register at that link if you want to wait for the video or to be posted on YouTube, or you can make a copy of the screen so you can go to that link and sign up. You'll love it. July the 19th through 20th. Sort of gives you a preview of what's going to happen at PASS. We have, or still have, the discount code contest, and coming up July 23rd is the deadline before the price goes up again. If you want to save any money, if you're going to go to PASS, I would suggest using one of the virtual chapters discount codes or local chapters. We give the advantage of every time somebody uses our code, VC15GBQ6, you'll be put into a drawing for a $500 Amazon gift card to kind of help pay airfare, help pay towards a hotel bill if your company doesn't pay for it, or just anything extra after that. After July the 23rd, it goes up $300, so definitely look at that. And we had a contest in April, May, and June of everybody that attended one of our sessions, either down under or in the United States, and you were put into a drawing for a $350 Amazon gift card. And Brian Manning won this last one. And we'll probably be having something very similar. Haven't got the details worked out. We've got to wait to be sure about sponsorships and stuff before we start saying we're giving away stuff. SentryOne is one of the ones that is the company that will provide the funds that we give away. But anyway, it'll probably include you need to be a member of PASS, and that's not that hard to do. Go join up, and you can sign up for multiple virtual chapters, because I know we have a lot of people coming out from YouTube, and this is sort of a shout out to them. If you want to be eligible for these gift cards, sign up for PASS, and you can sign up for our sessions all at one time if you want to. Again, we're talking about the summit codes or the discount codes. It'll be coming up October the 31st through November the 3rd. If you haven't been to a PASS and you're in the IT industry, DBA, SQL developer of any type, this is the place to go. It's great. Here's some of our sessions coming up. We actually have one coming up the 18th with Grant Fritchie, extending DevOps to SQL Server. Now, that one is really good when you really need to sign up for that one. This one, 8/22, has been canceled, and I'm trying to get somebody for that one with Just Borland. So don't sign up anymore for that. It'll probably be moved to sometime in 2018. PASS Virtual. PASS has multiple virtual groups with just about every major language and just about every major topic. So that's why I'm saying join. You can get information from these other groups, and it'll be free education, and they give away gift cards too. SQL Saturdays is like a mini PASS Summit in your area, and they're usually totally free. You pay for your own lunch, and you go and you see a day full of sessions from great speakers. Here's some of the ones coming up. I'm not sure I'm going to get to go to Atlanta. I would love to. That's supposed to be a great one, but all of these other ones are probably very good too. So check that out. Go to SQLSaturday.com and see if there's one close to you. And a lot of times the day before, and sometimes 2 days before, they'll have things that do cost, but there'll be full-day sessions on specific topics to where you can really learn a lot. Our session will be recorded, and it'll be at our YouTube channel, dbafundtube.org, or you can go to dbafund.org and look at our meeting archive. Okay, today, Pinal Dave, if you have been on the internet and you have asked a question, there's a great chance that you have run across Pinal Dave answering a question, or he may have answered a question directly for you, because he is all over the place and he is just full of knowledge. That's about the most I can say about him. I mean, he is just all over the internet. I'm going to get off so he can start parsing out wisdom like you wouldn't believe with his session in just a second. I guess that's it. I'm turning it over to you now, Pinal. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much. First of all, Steve and Shan, for giving me opportunity to connect with all these people who are online right now. I see so many attendees, and that makes me happy. And I think, one thing is very, very good is I like your name, like SQL Fun, like DBA Fun. And fun stands for fundamental, but it's really entertaining, I would say that way. I think fundamentals are really, really fun. When I go for any of the organization for performance tuning consultation, number one thing I see missing is fundamentals. Everybody know deep inside the indexes. Everybody know deep stuff inside it, but nobody know really, really what actually is fundamental. They lack the fundamental. They miss out on these little details about fundamental. They just don't know what is simple stuff, and that's what is the real trouble I see. So today's SQL Server Performance Tuning Made Easy is built on two things. First, last year when I did this presentation, I had an amazing time because I talked a lot about different topics about performance tuning, and during that I received a lot of questions and a lot of chat. So what I did is that I collected all of this and built this session on it. Second thing, this particular session is actually continuation of the last one. So what I mean by that, the last year's session DBA Fundamental where I stopped, I'm actually starting this session right from that point, because if you go and watch into the YouTube channel, you will see I have mentioned that maybe we will cover this in one of the future session, and bingo, we're starting from that particular point today. And it's going to be fun, it's going to be easy, it's going to be fundamental. So if you are super, super, super expert, you'll still have fun, and otherwise you will learn the fundamental. With that, I'll start this session. I think next 45 minutes are going to be fun, and next 45 minutes are going to be a little bit roller coaster ride. A lot of people always ask where they can get resources for performance tuning, how they can learn about new things. Well, I share something new every week on my newsletter. So what you can do is just go to https://go.sqlauthority.com, drop your email address, and immediately you will get some free script for performance tuning. But also onwards, I would be sending you some really, really fun stuff, and you can just get that. So for resources, just head over that right now and drop your email. So that thing is done. So you do not have to keep on asking, hey, where can you get some performance tuning scripts and weight statistic scripts, and how you can start in the future, and few other stuff which I always share. Well, I think that's it. So fun thing I would like to do. I think this is what I like to talk about. Just watch this for a moment and just think, have you been ever into this situation? Either of this character. Are you the guy who is either busy? Are you the guy who is just saying no to the opportunity and encouraging people to stay busy? Or you are the guy who has a lot of idea, but nobody just want to listen your ideas? Which one are you? Just think for a second. I think it's very, very important, because that's all about I wanted to say. This one is very deep. This is very, very important. We always talk about it. So with today, I think we're going to start with our very first topic, about which is again basic, is about weight statistics. Weight statistics, this is where I stopped last year. Now let's get technical. We have talked enough about all other stuff, so I think this is where we will start. So my first topic is about weight statistics. So weight statistics is very, very interesting topic. It's a very easy to start with. A lot of people struggle with it, because as soon as they get the weight statistics script, their first question is that, now what should I do? How should I interpret this thing? How should I go about it? And they start searching on the internet, and they end up on, they have a simple question, how to start with weight statistics. When they start searching on the internet, they end up with so much material and so much information that it becomes pretty impossible for them to start. I think it's a problem is that we have so much good information out, but there is not really a structured way to start it. And I think the number one thing which is missing in a weight statistics environment is the proper quick learning method. So today in our presentation, we will talk about the weight statistics, and this is where we will start. I think I will try to solve one of the problem with you, a real problem. Maybe that will give you some idea that how performance tuning expert look at the weight statistics and get started. So again, it's a DBA fundamental. I've seen this thing in a lot of organization. So I think that's what we wanted to start. So with this, I will start now. So let me bring a SQL Server Management Studio, and here we have SQL Server Management Studio. And hey, this is the fun stuff. While I find the script, I have a question for you. Look at this ancient way of writing joins, and this is the ANSI way of writing joins. Which one do you prefer and why? Just think for a second. Leave it a chat window if you want to, or just tweet online and just see. I would like to see your opinion. It's going to be fun, whatever you write, and I would like to know what you prefer and why, ancient way or ANSI way. And if you are just doing it, you can just tweet me at Pinal Dave, so I would read everything. So think about it, or you can just write in a chat window, and or if you don't want to chat window, you can just go and write in a questions as well, and I would be happy to read all these questions as well. So not necessarily that has to be a question. You can post anything there, and I would be happy to answer and read it. Oh wow, so many people are already answering, and a lot of you are saying ANSI way. Good, because it's, I think, the number one answer you guys are saying. It's very intuitive and you like this. So even though you're writing in a question, so I think those don't need answer, but it's a good way to talk about it. I see all the familiar names. Some of you are saying it. I think I would like to know the reason. Nobody's writing reason. Come on. I think beside intuitive, can you write something? I want to know one thing. Why would you not use the previous thing? All right. I think I just got one answer. Okay, look at this way. So the ancient way, you can definitely, if you're using SQL Server 2014, in an ancient way or an ANSI way, you can just do the joins properly. That is the same result set in either of the case. But let's think about, we want to convert this inner join to the left join. Then how would you do that? Well, here you can just put a left join, but how would you do that over here? Anybody has any idea how can I convert this one to a left join? And a lot of people are already answering. And please note what I just said. This is SQL Server 2014. A lot of people said for left join, put a star before it. All right, I put a star, and when I try to run this thing, it says incorrect syntax. So I think in earlier some version of SQL Server, the star thing with this is gone. So you might have to start using SQL Server 2005 to do that. So yeah, I think the star thing has been deprecated as of SQL Server 2005. So get started with your ANSI ways. Your answers were correct in earlier version of SQL Server. So I hope you guys have a little bit learning right away. And while we were talking about it, I brought out my weight statistic script over here. So, well, actually, to be honest, I already had the script ready with me. I just wanted to tease you guys and talk to you guys and build a relationship and this kind of questions things, and so we can talk, right? Being interactive is the key. Who want to learn the boring SQL stuff? We know all this thing when we were studying in our college or school, or some of us are self-taught. But the fun thing is, let's see how we can make SQL fun and learn the fundamentals. So this is a weight statistic script. Again, it's out already, published on my blog, or you can just send email to me if you want further information for this one. But how does this work is this. First thing first, you take this script, okay? This is a fundamental class and we want to learn about weight statistics. And there are some very basic, which is some of the weight statistics which are innocent, I would like to call. So I have wrote down over here, and I'm not going to talk about the innocent weight types. So now let's run this one and see what are the current weight types in my system. Please note, my system is not a real-time system. It's a demonstration related system. So it does not have the real information. All right. So now I am going to clear this particular weight type. So you can see over here, this is the command dbcc SQL perf to clean it. And again, I'm not recommending you to do this in a production. I just did this on my development system. So when I run this again, now I don't have anything over here. Now the fun thing, we are going to start. Okay, I'm going to run some query over here, and I'm going to increase the size of the font so you can see this query. So let's see this query, which I can run for SQL Server 2014. So I'm running this query, and let me just enable the execution plan. So you have a little bit idea about execution plan, and query ran in 22 seconds. And let's see the execution plan. Definitely there is a cluster index scan, and right click over here, see the property. You can see actual number rows from total of 9 threads. So thread number 1 to 8 plus thread number 0. Good, right? So threads 8 processor this particular query is using. So 8 threads, they are now sorted and gathered over here, and the result is produced in front of us. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this query 25 times. So what will happen if I run this query 25 times? Well, first of all, this query is going to take plenty of time to run it. But we know the first query took 2 seconds. So maybe the total 25 times may be done in 35 to 40 seconds. But anyway, while we are running the query, let's go back and check now our weight statistics. So I will run this query again, and the first result you can see called CX packet weight. It's almost 191 seconds, and that is actually building up 89.23, so around 90% of the time. Yes, so 90% of the time this is particular weight statistics. The way I am explaining you, so for a lot of people who joined recently, I just want to repeat it. The way I am explaining you about how we can get started with the weight statistics like day one. Okay, so now I have just noticed that my query took around 33 seconds to complete. Now let's come back over here and run it one more time, and you can see 255 seconds was CX packet weight. So what is weight type? Weight type, well, that's a long explanation, but I would explain you in one possible word. Let's call this a bottleneck, or let's call this what is making SQL query to wait before it start running or before it completes. More than running, I would say, what is making your query not to complete? What is the making it to wait to get complete? So that's what is wait type. Currently, you can see it's a CX packet weight. CX packet weight stands for CPU. When you're multiprocessor, at that time, it is right now around 90%. That means when my actual query ran, it has wasted around 255 seconds of time just waiting. So my processor were engaged, but they are running slow because of this much CPU weight. How do you go and fix this thing? What is the solution? Any suggestion? Any of you have it? Just post it in the chat window or questions window, and I would be happy to read it. Please note the problem is my CPU processor are waiting a lot of seconds, and they are 255 seconds of wait. How do I fix this particular wait, or how do I get this weight statistics to a lower value? Anybody want to give it a shot and post your suggestion? I would be happy to see what you have to see or say over here. Come on, fantastic. Well, one wrong answer I already received, so I would like to say that's not a good thing, and the good thing is I should not be playing and reducing the number of threads. Number of threads is very, very different thing. I think a lot of people say is play with MAXDOP. So let's see how about playing with MAXDOP. So here, let me close this ancient one or the query one, and now we are back to this parallel query. So let me just do this way. I'm going to play with parallelism. My machine has 8 processor, as you already know. How about I run this query with a 4 processor? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn down the half of the processor. I'm not going to use it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run this query on only 4 processor. So MAXDOP 4 stands for 4 processor. So previously it was running on 8 processors, as we have seen. Now I'm going to run it on a 4 second. Many of you are saying wait times is in a milliseconds and not in a seconds. I agree with you, and that's why I have divided that with 1000. That's why now it is millisecond is converted to second. So yeah, thank you for pointing this one out. But as I have divided with 1000, it is now seconds. And thanks for pointing it. I could have easily missed it, just like you missed it right now. So it's totally fine. It's okay. So now coming back over here. So look at this one. So now I'm running with a half of the processor. So question is, very simple question. If a building takes 8 days to complete by 8 people, now if you reduce the amount of the people, how long the same building will take to complete? So what I mean by that, previously a building was built by 8 people and it took 8 days. Now you reduce amount of the people working on that building from 8 to 4, but your workload is almost same. So my question is, how long do you think that building to complete? From 8 days, will it become 16 or not? Just think about it. Yeah, so just use your mathematics. While you guys are figuring that out, 16 16 days or not, I would answer one of the important question is that 255 millisecond, which you've seen, is definitely across 8 of the processor. And a lot of people has asked me, what is my server configuration at this point of time? I love you guys this asking question because it's important, right? I mean, there is no point talking it alone. So come back over here and you can see my max degree of parallelism is 0, and 0 means everything. So that's it is. So absolutely. So a lot of people are asking 255 seconds is more than 6 minutes. We did not wait for 6 minutes. I totally agree, but it is across. It is across 8 processors. So bring out the calculator. Now let's put 255 divided by 8. That comes out to be 31 seconds. Right? Now let's go back and check how long the original query took. That is 33 seconds. So technically, this entire query had only 1.5 seconds of good work, and rest of the time it was just waiting, and now we need to go and fix that. So coming back to this one, now I'm running this query. Previously it took 33 seconds. Now query still has to do the same amount of the work. What do you guys think? How long will it take to finish this query? Previously it was 33. Now just take that example of building a building. The query still has to run 25 times, but now I have reduced the MAXDOP to 4. That means I'm running 4 CPUs together. So how many of you think this 33 seconds will become 66 seconds? 66. Just think about it. Because we have half of the workers than before. Let's run this one and see how long this query takes to finish it. And everybody who said 66, please watch this very, very carefully. It's very, very important for you to see this, that even though, and many of you are saying 15 seconds, which will not happen. How can it be half at all? It's gonna take more, because we think about that example which I gave you earlier. A building has finished in 8 days by 8 people. Now you reduce the amount of the people who are finishing it. It should take double the time for them to finish it. They cannot finish in 4 days because you are now putting only 4 people. That's not a right maths. So coming back over here, you can see when I reduce this one to 4, what happened? Query still finished in 33 seconds. But previously this was 255. Now let's go and check the new number. It is 380. What happened? So let's bring out our mathematics. Previously it was 255, now it's 380. So 380 minus 255, that is 125. You can see the now, because I'm using half of the CPU, now our wait time is also half. That means technically we finished the same query. Technically, it's the same query, took same amount of the time, but it has wasted less amount of the CPU. That means your CPU was available for your other queries. That's it. That's how it is. A lot of people do not know about this one, that they think when you throw more processors to SQL Server, when you throw a more processor to a query, your query will speed up. Not necessarily. There are rare cases, but again, not necessarily. Now, let's do this one. So this time I did not have to clear the weight statistics. This time I'm clearing the weight statistics now. So when I run it again, it's again 0. So we don't have to do math. Now I'm going to run this with only 2 CPU by setting MAXDOP 2. And when I run this one, any guesses how long this query will take? Just guess it. This is the last 2 minutes we are going to talk about this demonstration. It's a very, very powerful demonstration. Trust me, lot of people, when I go and do performance tuning, people has no clue about this thing. And when I do show them, when I request them to change their MAXDOP to the lower value, they look at me and said, are you telling me that my query should use less processor? And I always say, yeah, because you want to do the parallel operation, don't you? And they're like all surprised. They just think more CPU or more processor means more performance. Well, not necessarily true. So let's see this one. I'm running it again, and let's see how long this query takes. It should take anywhere between 32 to 34 seconds, as this is not a production system. Sometimes the results are 1 second up or down, but they are pretty accurate in that range. So what we are seeing, 33 seconds, can be 32, 34, that's fine, but you will not see them going down to 66 or 128 or some large value. They stay in a very close range, even though now I have only 2 processor assigned to my query, and as I said, 34. That's it. Again, it's 1 second. Don't over-analyze it. It's just at the moment what are the things that are happening on my system. All right. So now I want to show you one more thing. I'm going to run this thing by one CPU, but before I run it, let's go and check the weight statistics. Now it's 64. That's it. Less wastage of my CPU. And now when I set it to 1, please note this query. Oh, I should have. Let me just stop this. Let me just clear this one more time. I just clear this. Okay, it's 0. Now I run this thing on a single processor. The same query which was previously using 8 processor. Now I'm running with single processor. Let's see how long it takes. Trust me, it's going to take the same thing. Problem is that we think more processor is good for a query. The reality is that more processor is definitely good for your system, but if your single query is going to take all of the processor, then other queries which is coming behind it is gonna to slow down, because your one query is now taking all of your CPU. Not a great idea. And Kevin, you are totally right. It took 36. Look at that. When I moved this on a single CPU, definitely it took a lot of time. So there is only one person got it right. So thanks, Kevin. You're always right. This is the reason when you come to my performance tuning consultation, I always set this one to 2, because my personal experience says that setting MAXDOP to 2 is the most optimal thing to do. And where do you go and set it at a server level? You can go to advanced in a server property. Over here, you can set it to 2. This is one of the recommendation I give. There are a lot of things. See, this particular, let me tell you one secret before I move to my next thing. I do performance tuning for a living. That's the only thing I do. All right. So what I do in my performance tuning, I do settings change. There are so many settings Microsoft has given, and every single page there is some kind of optimal settings we can do. If you just set the right settings for your system, if you just set up the right setting for your system, trust me, the performance of your system goes multi-fold. Before even you touch your code, you can just change the settings and get amazing performance out of the system. But the sad part is that a lot of DBA just ignore this thing. They just look at one query. Every time when things are slow, I ask people like, what do you do the first thing when a query is slow? We try to look at how much memory SQL Server is using. We try to see the CPU usage. We try to see which query is expensive. And I was like, really? Those are the last thing you do, because you can just change one setting and suddenly, boom, your queries are going to run faster. By setting it to 2, what happens is that now your queries are running on 2 CPU. That means my 6 of the processor are available for other queries. At one customer place, when we change it to 0 to 2, and their system run so much fast, and they were like, how did that happen? I just said, it's because of, and they asked me, why this is running so fast? I said, this is running so fast is because of your DBA. He said, why? What did our DBA do? I said, he set it to 0. I just changed it. So that's why. Anyway, so query level, you can change it over here, but I rather suggest you change it at a server level. That is more important. Well, let me go to the next demonstration. So weight statistic, this is what I had promised, and there are so many different weight statistics. I have just explained you one. So when you run this one, you can find out different weight statistics. Every different weight statistics has a corresponding change you have to do. Some of them are innocent, some of them required some change. And once you play with this thing, trust me on this, you get immediate performance improvement. Immediate, when I say it's a strong word, right? It works every single time. So now I'm going to show you a demonstration about statistics. So everybody who has seen my demos before, you have to bear with me for this 1 minute. This demo is going to be finished in a 1 minute, but every single time, every single presentation, I make sure that I show this demo. The reason I try to show this demo is very simple. I think I'm on some kind of like what we call fight with everybody, every single DBA out about the statistics. All right. So let me start with my demonstration, and we will talk about this one in a second. So I would bring out SQL Server Management Studio, and once I bring SQL Server Management Studio, I would show you my 1 minute demonstration. And those who have seen it before, I apologize to you right away, because that 1 minute, take a break. You know what? Take a break instead of saying to me, you've seen this before. And while you come back from that coffee, I would have started the next one. So, all right. So what I'm doing is creating two databases. Okay, one I call status on, and second one I'm calling it status off. So classic mistake DBA do. Database were already existing. Choose a different name. You know what happened? Because 1 hour ago when I was trying this, see, I've been presenting things so many times. I mean, teaching and presenting is my hobby and that's my job. But every single time when I have to present to a new audience or even same audience, I'm nervous. I practice demo like crazy. And I was practicing this demo and I forgot to drop this to database. Now they are created again. So one thing I learned, because there are so many patches, so many things keeps on changing, server workload, things are changed. Never trust your SQL Server. Always don't be overconfident with your presentation skill. Don't feel overconfident. This is how the SQL Server behave. It will behave the way it wants to behave, and it's our duty to test every single thing, no matter how many times you do or you are confident. The moment you are overconfident about yourself, your ego will kill you, and that's what I've learned in my early career hard way. Since that, I decided to be polite with SQL Server and basically all of us. So now what I'm doing, I created two databases, status on and status off, and first time I'm leaving auto create statistics and auto update statistics on, and second time I'm keeping auto create and auto update off. So well, I just ran them, and then I'm just creating some kind of sample data into my databases. So first I created two tables, and after creating two tables, I'm populating them with some data in it. So as soon as I populated certain data in it, now what I'm going to do is I'm leaving set statistics IO and time on, which I did it. Next thing, and after I run this thing, I'll be done. So question to all of you enthusiasts, which query will do better, the top one or bottom one? Just guess. The top one where statistics are on, or the bottom one where statistics are off? What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts. A lot of people are writing already on Twitter, so thank you very, very much. And yes, all right. Well, 9 people said top one and 2 people said the bottom one. So I think we are equally split. So let me run this one. And now I have same result set. And next thing, what I'm going to do is going to check the messages. But before I check the messages, I want to go to execution plan. And the person who is going to correct me next, once I click on execution plan saying we should not depend on execution plan, please hold on to your comment for 1 more minute, all right? So after I see this thing, I know what you want to see, and I will show you the same thing. As I said, I've done this particular demo over 300 times in last 1 year. So I know every single question which I get. So the top query is taking 37%, to the entire batch, and bottom query takes 63% of the batch. Definitely top query takes less amount of the resources, and it is doing much better. And that is very, very good. Even though it has a key lookup, that's fine. Even though it's doing index seek, that's better actually. Here it is doing just cluster index scan, and there is a small triangle on the top of it. When I mouse over, it says warning, column with no statistics. So SQL Server is saying, because column with no statistics, I might be giving you poor performance. But hey, the person who was about to correct me, saying we should not depend on execution plan, but we should see the messages and check the output of query in terms of logical read. Then here we go for you. Logical read is 317 for statistics on, and logical read 533 when statistics off. So technically, query it is very, 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 very important to see that statistics off took way more time because way more logical read. This two questions I received. Question number one, logical read, what is the unit? Unit is page, and each page is size of 8K. So 533 into 8 is the size amount of this data it has retrieved and displayed something to you, and here it has to only retrieve 317. So please, for database, if you are on transactional database, just go and check one more time your settings about auto create and auto update. If they are true, it's a good thing to do. If they are false, I think you might have just carried forward the settings from the earlier version of SQL Server. Because you know what, earlier version of SQL Server, people used to believe that you need to leave it off because during the daytime, if there is any update happens, then there will be high amount of the disk IO. Everything was correct 10 years ago. Till today, all of these are correct, but our disks are so fast, and just scanning the one table one time, it's just all right. And matter of the fact, the statistics update is also sample. It's not like entire full scan. So don't worry about this thing. These things, I would just tell you this. Either you leave under the stone and just leave them off, or just turn it on and get continuously good performance. Even though you have a job in a midnight which is updating statistics, leaving this thing on is a good thing, because during the work business hour you want the amazing performance. So well, that's what I wanted to say about it. Now let's see the next thing. All right, this is about compatibility levels. SQL Server 2017 is just coming across the border. So, hey, how many of you are trying out with SQL Server 2017? It's a good product. I know it's not released. Okay, all right, wrong question. See, this is what happens. A lot of people are saying, send me the free download for it. Why? You didn't even hear this thing. Okay, go buy SQL Server. Okay, development version might be free, but again, right now, SQL Server 2016 is released. What I just asked was 2017. Okay, how many of you are just trying on their community preview version? Okay, fantastic. A lot of people are saying trying, and it's awesome. Well, what did you like about that one? So let's see a very relevant demonstration for that, which is related to compatibility level. All right, so let's see this one. All right, okay, couple of you are already asking, where can you get the scripts for performance tuning? You can go to this URL, take a screenshot of this thing, and just go and drop your email address. Many of the scripts which I displayed, and also other performance tuning scripts, will be available free to you. Just drop your email address there, and autoresponder, even though we're talking right now, you would get that one out. So well, that's it. So let's see the next demonstration about compatibility level. So this one, I am going to run this thing in the SQL Server 2016. I know I want to show you, I'm really itching to show you a 2017, but the problem is 2017 is technically not released yet. So we will do this particular demonstration with 2016 SQL Server, but I'm using SQL Server Management Studio for 2017. So here, a very interesting demonstration. you can see that for one query, the query is here. All right, the query is already here. And for this query, I have repeated 3 times, one time here, the same queries here, and same queries here. Only change between them is compatibility level. Compatibility level 110 stands for SQL Server 220. This level 120 sets for 214. And then after this setting to 130 means 2016. This is the same workload, same SQL Server, and let's run all 3 queries together and see which query gives us optimal performance. And a lot of you are going to say the query is coming from the cache. Really not, because as soon as you change the database compatibility level, the cache of that particular system just goes away and is removed. So now I'm running these 3 queries together. Guys, think which query will run faster, and it's a very easy thing I can tell you. This is SQL Server 2012, 14, and 16. Remember, even though my server is 2016, when I run this query with enable execution plan on, all right, so, all right, I think I clicked on this. Okay, the query is running now. Funny enough that I've been using SQL Server for a while. It's sometimes confuses. Like there's an execute button here and there is a debug button here. You know, it's there, so confusing. I'm sure. How many of you ever pressed debug when you really wanted to execute? Okay, it's funny, really, really funny. I think if you have not done that error, I think you're not using SQL Server long enough. And if you've done it multiple times, it totally makes sense. Look at this one, okay? Look at this is SQL Server 2017. There's an execute button with a play icon. And in an earlier version of Management Studio, there is a debug button with a play icon, and execute is with exclamation mark. And that's the why it's so confusing, because explanation means stop and play means go. And when you hit a debug, it will open up some weird interface and you will be ending close up so many things. But I'm so glad in the latest version of SQL Server, now debug does not have any icon, but execute has a play button. So if you are, now it's going to be more confusing, I know. Yeah, it's like so many of you said, now it's more confusing. You know what? That's the best part. SQL Server is very confusing. That's why consultant like us makes money, and that's good for us. All right, sorry about that. Coming back to the point is, let's see the execution plan and see over here. Well, the top query takes 42%, the one after that takes 38%, and the finally is 20%. So you can clearly see that the top query is not doing so good, but the bottom query does awesome. And that's why, because we changed the compatibility level of the SQL Server to the latest one. So one line summary to you, you want good performance of your system, you may want to check your database compatibility level and set it to the latest version. That's how you can get the optimal performance, because SQL Server will use latest cardinality as well as latest logic to run your SQL Server performance. Small line of warning is, if you are using any line of any previous code or any of the code which only works in a previous version of SQL Server, they may crash. So not a great idea. So test it out first on a development system and then deploy this thing on a production. But well, if you come to me for performance tuning, I would ask you one question. Have you tried this one out? Like, people pay me a lot of money when they're struggling with the performance, but I don't want to take your money till you have done your one homework, and that's this homework. If you change compatibility level to the highest version of the compatibility level, then sometime it will just work so fast that you don't need my services. Why don't you just save your money and use that money to go skiing or vacation or buy something for your family or just watch movies? Yeah. So anyway, if you prefer to watch movie, I think you will have to watch movie entire year because it will be a lot of money. Anyway, coming to this one, final demonstration I want to show you. This is a brand new demonstration. You know what? I never showed this one to anybody. I had just built this for one of the customer for this one, and they are using a lot of views. They're using so many views, and they come back and say, is Pinal views good or bad? And I was like, how do I answer it? I can't say it depends. It depends is for the weak people who do not know the answer. So how should I handle this one? I never answer anything in it depends. I feel uncomfortable saying it depends. As soon as you say it depends, it's a tongue in a cheek. It sounds funny, but it is also very, very boring as well at the same time. Like people laugh and they're like, do you really know the answer or do you care to know answer? So I was like, is view good or bad? And I said, well, based on looking at your data, sometimes the views are good, and based on looking at this, sometimes your views are bad. And they're like, no, Binal, you're giving us very complicated, convoluted answer. Tell us, is view good or bad? Pick one. Now what would you do? This is the challenge I want to give you now. Do you guys care to answer this one? Pick one. Don't say it depends. Don't say it based on a data. Don't give anything. I want to see how brave you are. So please write and tell me, are they good or bad? And please note, it's good when you are a good DBA. But what happens? Wow, I think I'm going to pick up a fight with a couple of my favorite people now. I think they're not going to like me anymore. One of them, because they think views are good. All right, I see views are good. All right, care to answer this? Now I'm really, really scared. I'm just thinking for a second. Should I show this demo and make 4 people my enemy whom I really like? And one of them, it's a tough, it's like a climbing hill for me right now, because I'm going to upset my good friend of mine. I hope he talks to me tomorrow. But anyway, taking a risk is what we do as a DBA. Every single time we change something or we drop something, and it's risk. So I'm going to show you a very real scenario, and yeah. All right, let me just shrug my nervousness and let's get started. So, well, we are back over here, and this is a final demonstration for the day. We are right on time, and I would like you guys to pay attention to this demonstration. The reason is very, very simple. I'm increasing the screen property right now, and let's see this. If you are confused, watch this one again. And again, as I said, this is really built from the real world experience of the views. And when I see this thing happening at one of the consulting place where I was like so disheartened. They use views for everything and they don't get performance. And they came back to me, said, Pinal, views are good thing and we are using it. Can you help us out? And I said, I don't know how to answer him. Everything in SQL Server is a risk and proof. I just took a risk, and I'm going to show you a demo. So please watch this one. What I did is that didn't do anything. This time I wrote a code to drop that view. So here is the first statement. Look at this SQL statement, okay? What I am doing over here, this SQL statement is over here. Now I am including that into view. That's the only thing I'm doing. I am just creating view from this SQL statement. And those who said best webinar ever, I love you very much. Okay, you're probably right. I think I'm presenting it first time, so this is going to be best. This particular thing I'm presenting brand new. Okay, so now I created this view, and do you see this condition over here? The same condition, even though that is already in the view, I am going to apply to this view again. Please note what I just did. If you've not understood it, I'll take a moment to tell you. I created a store procedure. I created a view with this query. I took the same where condition and applied to my view. Now, do you think this condition will be applied 2 times to this view? Just asking you. Do you think yes or no? Just think about it. Let's do this thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to compare them. If it is applied twice, then this will be expensive, right? Very natural. Let's see them. 50, 50. So what actually is? No, they are not applied 2 times. Not at all. So please note, if you apply anything like this on the query, which is already included in a view, then they are not applied twice. Now, I took the same condition outside the view and comparing that with a view. Can you guys tell me which of this will be faster, a top query or bottom query? Just guess. Just guess. It's good. I want to see how good you guys guess. We still have 7 minutes before we finish the presentation. And as I said, what you're going to learn in this one, something very important. And I think this is going to open up your mind. Open up your mind. If you give a wrong answer, you will learn something. If you give a right answer, well, then you already knew this thing and you are just helping me to prove my point. Which query will do better now? Just think. Wow. And the people who get it wrong, please make a note of it because you learned something and learning is good. So now I'm executing this query. Query done. Let's go and check execution plan. I see the suspense being built up. And thank you guys for all the praise which I see on Twitter. You guys are amazing. Look at this, 50, 50. Because view is expanding. Actually, views are not bad. Look at this. It has actually expanded the query. So even though you are running this view or this query, technically, they are the same thing. So no problem. So views are good. Better, I can't say good, right? They're equal. So views are not bad, I would say. Now, the funny stuff. Let's assume that your boss come and say, I want an additional column from your transaction history table. How would you do that? How would you get an additional column? So I want to show you this way. So if it is a regular query, you can just add additional column like this. But if it is a view, how would you get that additional column? You will have to join to the table, right? Because even the transaction history table was part of the view. You can see it over here. It does not retrieve that column. Technically, I need to include that particular column inside the view. But let's assume you cannot keep on. Let's assume that you cannot keep on adding columns. But in this regular query, you can just go ahead and add it. But in this case, you technically cannot add the same column inside the view because then you have to change the view. And now every single place where you don't need this column will be retrieved. The reason you created view because you are going to use this view multiple places. Now there are other places will also have access to this column. That's why you need to add it outside the view. So now when I want to retrieve this outside the view, I'm going to do an inner join to this table. Now let's see the performance of both of this. Can anybody tell me which query will do better? Please note, as view is smarter and it already know it is joining this table before. So which query will do best? Come on, this is the time to prove yourself then and tell me which query will do good. Come on. Very, very good. Let's see the answer. So first query is done. And okay, I'm just waiting. The first query is definitely done. I know that. The second query is going to be done soon. I think it's just going to take some time. Okay, it's not done. I think something went wrong. All right, it's still running. You know what? I'm going to stop this one. I think something went wrong. So let me run both of this query one at a time. Okay, so first query, let me run it. Done in 1 second. Good. The first query done in 1 second. Now let's see the second query. Let's run it. View with an extra column. Let's run it. You know what? I think all of you want to drop off. You can leave now. Do you know why? Because this query is not going to be done in next 5 minutes. No, that's exaggeration. At least it will be not done in 2 minutes. Just adding one single column will just start making view go crazy. And view will start giving you a very unexpected result now at this point of time. Query is still running. Query is still running it. Because this is what I see. So where I went for performance tuning consultation, they had a one view, and when they need additional column, they just add more joins to that view. Do you have a situation where you have views and you are making additional join to the views? Are you doing that? If you're doing that, you know what? You might be victim of this thing and you may not even know. You may not even know this is what you're doing. And you complain for performance. You need to think about through. So that's why performance tuning consultancy for DBA does not stop at this one. If they see a lot of views, they need to tell developers. They need to educate developers. You can't do things like that. and there are a lot of things you can do. And long story short, I will tell you how did I fix that situation. So what I did is that I just added word called distinct and distinct in a both of this query. All right. So when I run this one and run this both of this query, now the first query was done in a second, and the second query was also done into second. Even though second query was more expensive, the one where I used view was more expensive, but at least the query finished in a 1 second. So I was able to help my customer by just adding a distinct column. You can see the top query still finishes in around 0 second, and now bottom query after applying distincts finish in 2 seconds. So matter of the fact, you can still see I was able to help my customer by adding the word distinct, so they don't have to go and change the code. So that's the problem. I cannot tell my customer always to change code. So my consulting service does not involve changing the code part, because then what's the point about hiring me if I don't give them maximum performance in a 4 hours? I need to give them maximum performance, more advantage, a bang for the bucks which they are investing, and immediate performance. Nobody wants preaching anymore. Everybody wants quick results, and that's what is good. That's what we do. So we added this one, but again for this view, this adding distinct word would help, but not every single time. That would have helped. So well, that's what it is. And so why the view is slow? Well, that is a long story. Some other day we can talk about it. So I would like to say today is that today we talked about view. Maybe when I will come back, maybe I will take one of this topic based on your feedback, what you're writing to me, what you are sharing with me. Write an email to me, talk to me, and you know what? I will talk about in the next time something very similar what you want. I would make sure that you guys learn something nice, and I might be more smarter and maybe more intelligent and more wiser next time when I meet with you. So I would be really looking forward to your feedback, and I hope I did not make one of my friend angry by proving that views needs to be evaluated. So this is right at 1 hour. I think we are just done what we wanted to cover. I would be happy to see you guys sharing more stuff with you. And thank you all of you for amazing time with me. And I am passing this one over to the organizers and amazing people. I cannot thank enough for this wonderful opportunity to talk. So Shane and Steve, this is over to you.
Thank you, Pinal. I'm actually just looking at all the thank yous and great webinars coming in, so I think you definitely have everyone's attention. And we would love to have you back for those topics. So if everyone wants to get in touch with Pinal, tell him how you felt about today and let him know which ones you'd like to see next. We would be delighted to have you back. Just a couple of things to close out before we end this webinar. The 23rd of July is when the current cost for SQL Summit goes up again. So don't forget to use our passcode VC15GBQ6 for an extra $150 off the cost of PASS Summit. And finally, next week we have Grant Fritchie on the 18th of July. He'll be talking about extending DevOps to SQL Server. And that's it. We hope you enjoyed the session, and we should hopefully see you again next week. Thank you again, Pinal.
Thank you.